Hello, friends. Welcome to this short presentation. If you are in the Coherence Consciousness Lab, it's so great to be connected. And if you're watching this on YouTube, please come and join the lab. Join a community of people who believe in possibilities, who are here to grow, to expand, to heal through exposing ourselves and actually diving in to different processes, such as the one I'm going to talk about today. We are talking about the 22 processes from Abraham Hicks, Ask and It Is Given. And we are starting a challenge. So this challenge lasts for 22 days. And in each day, we will dive into a process a day. There are 22 processes in Abraham's book, Ask and It Is Given. And so in this short presentation, I want to help you make the most out of the challenge, invite you to the challenge if you aren't already signed up. And if you perhaps want to join in a future a challenge, come and join us. So it is a lot of material. So I want to just give you a short overview of what to expect and, again, how to make the most out of the challenge. So I share with you a tracker. It's my copy. And so in this tracker, you'll be able to check off a process per day. So we do it through email. You get an email a day, and you also get a in our WhatsApp groups, which is happening live. That's what is fun about joining the challenge, because you join others who are in this together. And in the WhatsApp group, we can get to interact and share, thoughts, ideas, things that happen. That is what is fun when the energy is, present, alive in the moment, and we're going through each process. So it can get overwhelming. So I want to avoid that by giving you sort of like what to expect here. And so each process is, they're different, and there are for specific purposes. I have another recording where I go through all the 22 processes, and it's an hour-long presentation. I'll link the link here so you can take a look if you'd like. And in that, I divide them up a little bit into, there are some processes that are specifically for money. There are some processes that are more about intentional thought. There are some that are specific for releasing resistance. So you can imagine that there is a lot of nuance to each one of them. But what I recommend is that when you decide to embark on this process of going deep into Abraham's processes, that you have a journal at hand. If you have the book, that's great. Just have somewhere where you can take notes. Print out your tracker so you can check off the ones that you've done. Maybe make notes of the ones that you actually like more than others. Maybe some don't resonate in the moment, but they may be good for a future time. So that's what is good to note, that especially doing the challenge, if we're getting one per day and we want to, there's one that we really like and we want to do it every day, just make a mental note that that's one that you want to take on. But the next one, the following day, could be one that doesn't quite resonate with you. So just organize yourself as to what calls you. Really trust that the ones that you have a feeling towards is because those are the ones that you're needing, that would serve you best. So not all of them are going to serve you the best at the moment, because we are all going through different things, different challenges. These are all designed to release resistance and to raise our vibration, and so to get us into the vortex. And so there are some that may not apply to you at the moment. And know that also is really important. I'm going to share my screen in a moment where you can see the emotional scale. So it is very important to be aware of your emotional state. So because we're going through 22, and I go through them in the order in which they come out in the book. So there may be some that don't resonate with you that day, but as part of the challenge, you get the email, you get the WhatsApp notification that there's a recording of mine. I try to keep them to about 5-7 minutes long is the longest one there is. So you listen to the recording and you do it to the best of your ability. Don't try to master it that day. This is really getting you exposed to the process and to get a feel for them. Really, it's about getting a feel for them. And there are processes that are easy and that don't take much time. And that there are some that they're a little bit more elaborate, like when you there's one of you the prosperity game, for example. The prosperity game is one that a lot of people liked in our first round, and it's about money. And so we're every day we're at. So if you decided to take it on for more than that particular day, then that becomes almost like its own process challenge to do over a period of time. So that would be one that is more elaborate, that requires more it's almost like a separate challenge. So we won't get into that, so we keep the integrity of each process, and we don't get confused or overwhelmed, because really what we want is to be exposed to each process. And again, like I said, just get a feel for them. And then you can make a note like, oh, I want to do this one later, or I am open to suggestions. Please, if you want to do, like, let's say the prosperity game over a period of time, we can do that. Another one that is really fun to do over a period of time is clearing clutter for clarity. That is process number 14. Prosperity game is number 5. But the clearing clutter for clarity is one where you are eliminating things. Let's say you want to clear your closet, your kitchen, or your whole house, and you want to just clean and put things away. It is a process. So it requires more than a day. But believe me, it is. I've done a clearing clutter for clarity challenge. It was not called that. It was a different one, but a different. But basic the process was essentially the same. But again, it required a period of time, and this one was a 30-day one. And by the end of 30 days, boy, there was just like so much freedom, just so liberated, felt so fresh, felt so good to let a lot of things go. And it's amazing what happens when we let go of things, because everything is energy if we think about it. And we are getting rid of things that are kind of, that create energy blocks. Then when we get them out of our space, it creates, more space for new to come. So that is one that would require more time. But for the purpose of the challenge, just get a feel for it that day. That's what I highly recommend. And then check it off. And if you want to do it later, go ahead and do it later. So I'm going to share my screen and share with you the emotional scale, because that's another important piece to note, that every process, at the beginning of every process, it is important to check in on ourselves and see where we are up on the emotional scale. So there's a range of emotions going from the low vibration, low energy, all the way up to joy, freedom, and all the good feelings that get us into the vortex, where we become magnetic, attractive, things come to us. So every process, we check in on where we are on the emotional scale. So I'm going to share my screen so you can see it. Okay, so we go. So here is the emotional scale. You'll see that there are 22. Isn't that interesting? So there's 22 processes and there's 22 range. The range is of 22 in the emotional scale. Going starting from the bottom, 22, fear, grief, depression, despair, powerlessness. And then we move up, insecurity, guilt, unworthiness. 20 is jealousy, then up hatred, rage, and then revenge and anger and discouragement and blame and worry and doubt and disappointment and overwhelm and frustration, irritation, impatience, pessimism. And then we go to boredom. That feels better. And then from boredom, we could go to contentment. And from contentment, we could go to hopefulness. And from hopefulness, we could go to optimism. And from optimism to positive expectation and belief. And then to enthusiasm and eagerness and happiness and passion and joy and knowledge, empowerment, freedom, love, and appreciation. That's the range. That's the scale. So every process is designed to move us up the emotional scale. So no matter which one we do, and the hope is that every day you're doing one, and no matter, regardless of, you know, where you are, if you do it with intention, you know, you put your heart into it, you will move up the emotional scale. But check in with yourself, you know, because we can't go from fear, grief, depression all the way to joy. That's too big of a leap. So we do gradually move up a bit. And but just notice yourself that because we're doing this in a span of 22 days, there may be days where you're not feeling, the way that particular process was designed, because you check in with yourself, and some are designed to move us up the emotional scale when we are already in contentment, for example. And so just note, it's something to note for yourself. And then you can just make it, again, a note like, oh, I should do this at a better time when I'm feeling a bit better, but do it, I would encourage us all to do it regardless of how we feel, and just to release some resistance and get you more into alignment. So that's an important factor, is to check in with ourselves and know that every process is designed in different ranges. So for example, the releasing resistance ones, and this is in the recording that I mentioned that I'll attach here, where I go through each one in depth. It's about an hour-long recording, where I recommend that you take note of each one. I mention where in the emotional scale you may be to for that process to serve you best. So in the releasing resistance, for example, those are processes that tend to be lower in the emotional scale. That is process number 18, 17, 20, as an example. So yeah, just know that you can take a listen to that other recording, and if you want to go more in depth to each process. But when you join the challenge, what you get is a recording each day of the process and a little handout where you know how to do it. And so you apply it that day to the best of your ability, and you check it off your tracker, and make any note that you like. And that way, again, you're getting exposed to the process, and getting a feel for it, and then deciding if it's one that you want to take on, or that resonates most with you, that really helps you move up the emotional scale. And I would also really encourage you to note how, after you're done with the process, to see where you find yourself in the emotional scale. So that's another fun part about playing this, being just being curious and being easy about these processes. Don't take it so seriously. We can't, the lighter we are about it, the less serious we are about this. I think that it really serves us to move up the emotional scale. It is a game, a challenge. Don't take it so seriously. Know that you are doing your best, that you will get what you need, and because that's the way I think that the law of attraction works. We're getting it. There is a vortex full of the things that you already have put there over your whole life, and like Abraham says, it would take 20 or 30 lifetimes for you to enjoy it, and you wouldn't want it all at once. So, but each process is helping you get closer to your vortex and to be able to uh, attract to you, because it is law, um, everything that you desire. And so hopefully, my hope is that you utilize each process to the best of your ability, and that we get to celebrate and enjoy these 22 days. It's fun when you can share with other people that are, doing this work, which is play, this work play, and get to see results. It's fun to see the synchronicities. It's fun to see manifestations all of a sudden, like randomly, but we know where they came from. They come from our efforts, from our our focus thoughts, and elevated emotions, which is we're practicing, all these tricks up our sleeves that we're learning. That's another way that Abraham says, have so many tricks up your sleeve that regardless, we get into the vortex. So that's what these processes are designed to do. And okay, here are the processes again, just to mention them quickly. There are 22, isn't that funny? There's 22 emotional in the range of emotions, and there are 22 processes. They don't match up to the emotional range, just like I mentioned. There are some that are designed to release resistance. There are some that are designed only for money, for example, specifically like as a theme. There are some that are focused on intentional thought. There are some that are meant to be introspection, like evaluating dreams, for example. There's a beautiful one for health, specifically. That's 21, reclaiming one's natural state of health. And so, yeah, so it's exciting to get exposed to each one, and to find the ones that resonate most with you. I would encourage you just to highlight the ones that speak to you, and take this challenge not as something that you must do and you must master each one every day. That really isn't the intention. The intention is for you to be exposed to it, to get a taste, to get a feel. It's almost like a sample, but know that they are powerful. When we do them with intention, we put our heart into it, we will move. We will move. We release resistance. We will increase our vibration, and we will attract. This is law of attraction. These are the 22 processes from Abraham. Nothing less, nothing more, but Abraham's processes. So if you are a student, like I know many of us are, of other processes, of other teachings, it is fun to start to correlate how these processes align with other teachings. And you'll start to notice, oh yeah. So for example, segment intending is process number 11 here for Abraham, but that is a clear tool in the toolkit of heart math. That is one where we intentionally change our vibrational state, or get ourselves into the state of coherence before we enter a room, before we enter a different place, a different segment. That it's and you'll start seeing other examples of other processes that if you are a deliberate creator, you are somebody that is a student of life, you'll start to recognize how these processes are sort of tools. There are the basic material that we can always have available to help us mold the clay, like Abraham says, get ourselves in the state of receiving what we have already put out into the field, what we have already created, what is already in our vortex, through living this experience in this life. So, all right, so I'm going to leave it at that. And if you haven't signed up, please join. It's so much fun. And if you're watching this as a recording, come and join the Coherence Consciousness Lab, where we get to play with processes like this and get to connect with other people who are on their journey of evolving, of healing, of conscious creating. So much, much love to everyone. I hope to see you in there or see you soon somewhere in the field. Much, much love. And remember to always come back to your heart.